who bring a lot of experience to bringing German quality, who are answer German, to Vietnam. We have so what I did is I was thinking, how do I pull off the session? Should I ask some question and prepare it? And I decided not to do this. But what I did is I asked them to prepare each of them their key learnings, what made them successful. But before we dive in, let them introduce themselves. Frank, do you want to start?
I start. My name is Schellenberg. I'm the chairman of DIGI-TEXX, and this company exists since 2002. And the foundation was maybe a little bit weird, because I had an employment here in Vietnam for 1 year in the year 2000 for Urda Publishing House in Munich. And after this employment, I had to go back. And this year, I tried very much to live here. I see the Vietnamese. I didn't know much about Vietnam, but I see them drinking coffee, drinking beer, everything what I like. Riding with a motorbike was also good, and I considered maybe there's a chance to stay here and don't go back to Germany. But when you want to stay here and Buddha say no, we don't pay you, you need a business idea. And this time I read a book from Friedman, The World is Flat. And that was about globalization and outsourcing, and they talk a lot about the Philippines and India. Companies take over the daily business from American companies. And that was for me an idea to do that actually here in Vietnam. But it was a little bit hard to convince customers, because Vietnam was language-wise, could not compare to the Philippines and India, and also to compete with these guys over there would be a little bit challenging. So the idea was we do that with German language. So because Germany, Switzerland, Austria, the industry is quite good, and the need is there. In this time it was to save money, lower labor costs, but how to do that here, the German language, and how to sell it, because nobody believed you that's possible. And the first thing we did a new way. So the idea was that software technology helps to recognize and extract content in German language, even nobody speaks German and was not a native language. And the second was how to convince the customer in Germany. There was a lucky thing, because before for the reunification in GDR was, I think, 300,000 Vietnamese workers and students have been there, and many Germans that they went back and they speak German, and you can use them to recognize and extract text. In fact, nobody ever entered the company, because we were at the north and had some good jobs. So what we're using was software. Today everybody talk about AI, whatever that is, software to support extraction, so with non-German speaking operators produce German text. And we did it very well. Of course, OCR and a lot of data. We export any DVD for telephone, and getting a huge databases, and the people need 6 or 8 or maximum 12 character recognition, and they get the address or the invoice or something in German. And the next thing was, when you can do that in German with non-German speaker, you can actually using all other languages, because it doesn't matter if it's Hungarian or Italian or some not so common languages like French, Spanish, or English. And that worked quite well. In addition, was we now understand Germany data security that comes more up, and quality, the slogan, German quality made in Vietnam. So definitely with trust. So the product, the service is the same. What you can expect of German company who said that it worked very well. So we grow up until more than 1,500 people. And the last time this is a change, the digital services coming more and more from analog, writing. Nobody write anymore fast to extract content. People making a decision. People make annotation. People doing validation or quality control. We still have a lot of operator, I think 1,000, but the content of the process changed more to digital services. And I'm very happy here to meet a lot of people who has to do with AI new processes, because nowadays two things change. First, we have only overseas, not only Germany anymore, we have now US and Japan, and growing Vietnam and Southeast Asia as a market. And the second is technology-wise. You have to adapt. Prices going down, revenue going down with the same customer because we have these processes. And it's not a need anymore to go to Vietnam for low labor cost. You can do it in your own country. But if you know the processes for a bank or insurance, you don't need to change this while you can still going on. If he has the technology and if they have the knowledge how to process data, also in the system. That was the story.
Thank you, Frank. I'm very happy to have you here. Nhan, I know your story a little bit, and it impressed me a lot.
Well, thank you. Well, my name is Nhan. I'll tell you a little story of how the business started. So I'm the director of Kitchen Koncept. We specialize in import and distributions of high-end cookware products. We started out with one brand. It was 1996, right after the embargo was lifted. My father, he has the passion of doing new businesses. And he invested into the company, and we import fish oil from Germany. So it brings back a lot of memory when I talk to Lars. And that one of those memories were walking into the kitchen and hearing the hissing sound of a pressure cooker in 1996, 1998. Shiny little piece of art. And we successfully ran that business as a family up until 2015. Only selling pressure cooker. And the reason why we were successful, and Lars asked me this, and I said that the reason why we were successful was because we localized the product and tailoring it into the needs of the Vietnamese people, Vietnamese cuisine. And I think that was one of the key takeaways for me. Why I say 2015 is because 2015, myself, my sister, took over the company. She's also here today. And from that point onward, we found that there has to be change. And instead of only import and distribute one brand, we increased that into 40 brands, exclusively in Vietnam. Still in cookware, still in home appliances. And we expand into e-commerce. We expand into omni-channel, multi-channel, wholesale, retail, B2B. Everything, basically we do everything in order to survive. So,
but you only import German products, or did?
We did only import German products. It was the thing of the era. From 1990s onward, it was just German product is the best thing in the world. It has to be German. It lasts forever.
Okay.
We still have that pressure cooker at home. The same one. It's still.
And I was in your shop, and you would think in a country where the average income is around $300, there are cheap products, but no. It's probably one of the most expensive shops I've ever seen, and I bought as a gift because by accident it was Valentine's Day when I visited him. So I brought a glass of one red wine glass for my wife. It was like $200, one glass. But he explained me very well why the wine will be so much more yummy out of this glass. So you're taking German products, now European products, because I saw some French products now.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
We need to talk about that.
Sure.
And localize them to the Vietnamese market. There's Frank, you have a different approach, which is a little bit more similar to what we are doing, where you use the local to address the European market.
Also here.
Also,
most rising markets in Italy.
so you do have clients now in Vietnam.
Yes. It was actually our first business license. We were only allowed as a 100% for direct investment, 10% of the revenue doing in Vietnam. And the reason DPI, Department for Value Investment, said we want to let this business for local companies here. So we should do that overseas somewhere, but let the Vietnamese companies make the money. Trade was the same. And in 2007, when they joined the World Trade Organization, then officially this doesn't matter anymore. But you have on the local market two problems, and first the quality is in this time the quality, the request on good quality was not so high. Payment was a little bit late, and the really big customer from the government, from the local banks, the local insurances wanted a little bit kickbacks, what you could for compliant reason not doing, and that is one challenge for the local market. The second one was when you make, let's say, a German investment here, and you sell it only in Vietnam, you get in Vietnamese dong. So if you don't have a headquarter like we are really German-owned company here in Vietnam, you want somehow also the money back. So what do you hear when you make billions of dollars and has not the really legal way to export it to the bank in the world wherever you want it? And that it's a mixed business. It's better you pay the local cost from your income in Vietnamese dong, and you have dollars or euro, you can no problem send in your own country. But here the market is bigger. The international companies, also Vietnam companies, corruption goes down dramatically. We heard yesterday also. It's also my experience with the current prime minister. And it is challenging to do that here. But the Vietnamese dong is not fully convertible, so you have to make a plan what you're doing with it.
Thank you. So to give you a little bit of context, if it is not easy possible to transfer Vietnamese dong out of Vietnam, so that's one of the challenges companies here face. If you address the local market and you want to take the money out of the country, it's not possible officially. But you made it. 1,500 employees. And let me also add to that. If you come to Asia, whenever you meet a person who tells you, I'm here 10 years, 20 years, or even longer in business, these persons are most of the times incredibly successful. Why is that? Because you can't stay that long if you don't run in a proper business, number one. And number two, you have seen, some of you spoke to me and said, I was the last time here 15 years ago, and oh my God, how the country developed, it's so different. So because the economy raises so much, if you do not make big mistakes, you inevitably also participate by the growth in the local economy, and you grow with the country. whereas in our European countries, the economic growth is substantially smaller. So the growth in your company comes solely from your own efforts. And that's a key learning I made, what kind of unfair advantage it is actually to be in such a rising economy. So what would you say, Frank? What is one of your tips? So if these ladies and gentlemen, they also want to build a company, they say, they have been here now, they say the same, they say, this is awesome, I want to stay in Vietnam, I don't want to go back to Europe. What is the key to success?
The first thing is not believing that's a communist country. From the economy-wise, that is really the opposite. The second, play fair, also with the authorities. I pay the taxes. I listened to them. I did not complain because in Germany so and so on, I cannot disappear. That's their country. We are more or less investors, but also migrants. So we come in as a foreigner in this country. We have to accept their rules. And then looking for niches. If you are small, if you're not Siemens or something, looking for niches, looking for local employees, and especially Vietnamese, now young Vietnamese, they are educated, they are good, they are willing to develop themselves. There's also drive, like compares it to Germany sometimes, and then just do it. The basics to make a business here, with the laws that you can make a 100% foreign direct investment, you would not found on the countries around. And it is really easy to do something here, to settle down. You don't have any fees to bring the money out. They let you doing actually what do you want for kind of business. Very, very small restrictions. You're getting in the IT sector very valuable incentives, tax incentives to help you to survive, as a startup, to survive the first time, the first years, and find a business, a niche. Services are good because then you need not so the infrastructure, you don't have to make bribes on the ports or on the custom. Goes from the internet, goes out like your business. We are a little bit privileged in this one, and it is quite easy.
A good example would be, so going on the niche tomorrow, we have a masterclass with Xuân and her husband, who is an amazing female entrepreneur, and she Vietnamese, and she actually found she liked to listen to Audible. There is no Audible in Vietnam. It doesn't exist. It didn't exist. So her business idea was like, let's do the same. But there are no speakers. There are no audiobooks. So she had to start to find speakers, read the books, record it, create the content, and she's tremendously successful. And that would be a good. Really a good idea about a niche, about that. Yeah.
And in addition, you see in Vietnam, when you look for digital healthcare, for digital banking, insurances, is not so regulated and fixed. Like, for instance, in Germany, you can do something here which you can not do the next 10 years in Germany, for instance. It's not so regulated. And also the branches, even out the international banks and majorities, they are more open to try digital services, to move some, when you see the ticket system here from the new metro, to using digital services. You have not the lobbyists, you don't have the regulations, the huge bureaucracy. You can do it better. And that was in the past different. The headquarters waiting if it runs in Europe or in the US, and then it comes to the countries and they change. They do it here, and it here it runs in another country, and then goes the technology out of Vietnam.
I find it also interesting that you said, understand that we are guests here. There are a lot of foreigners who come here who have an attitude of, we need to teach these people how things are done. And that doesn't go very well with the Vietnamese. They don't like that. And honestly, we are guests. I'm not going into your living room, visiting you, and then I tell you that you decorated everything wrong and you need to change it. What you would do is you would say, like, kick me out, you know. And that is indeed, and I can absolutely agree to that, one of the key lessons, that you need to have respect of the local culture and the country and work with the people in their way. Yeah, how about you? So, I mean, your company and your father's company are running even longer than successfully. So how did you do it?
Well, with everything Frank just said, I would say we have a framework. It boiled down to three things. Be unique, be adaptive, and be resilient. We get through being one of the best company providing cookware in Vietnam just by having a lot of products. But not only that, but we have unique selling points. All of our products have unique selling points. We have more than 3,000 SKU registered to Vietnam. We have adapted to the changes during COVID, and we have been adapting still because the changes in demographic that you were here and you heard what Richard has said, things have been changing drastically in the past 3-5 years. And back then, in 2015, when we started out with this company, we had more than 90% of our revenue coming from wholesales. But right now, more than 90% of our revenue are coming from retail. So there's a huge change in demographic, huge change in how the world is evolving. And I think that being adaptive is extremely important, especially Vietnam. As you said, 10 years, maybe you cannot do anything in Germany, but 10 years in Vietnam is a big thing, it's huge. And being resilient, I just keep saying that we don't quit. And I keep saying it until it instilled in the mind of our executive. We don't quit. We just got to change.
I like that, NFQ never fucking quit. But this is a little bit generic. Being resilient, being adaptive, that is, yes, absolutely true. But can you be a little bit more specific or give us some examples how you applied it? I think, for example, when we were chatting, you told me that your father started with this Whistler pressure cooker, and then how you later brokered the deal with Whistler.
Yeah.
And you personally went a lot of times to Germany.
Yeah.
So
in 2015, Whistler came back with an unimaginable deal so that we can keep the exclusivity. And up until that point, it was my father and his team that was running the company. So back then he asked me, hey, what do you want to do about this? And I say, well, if we can't keep them, we'd rather just innovate, just adapt. And from that point onward, we have, from 1996 to 2015, we have 35 SKU, and we survived that long. So I say, let's change it around. We go to Germany, we go to Europe, we sort out new products, new SKU, new brands who would help us adapt with the new growing economy and growth. That was one of the things. The other thing I think it's a fun memory between me and my sister, where during the COVID time, everything was closed down. And we decided that we gotta keep having 1 or 2 of our staff stationed in our retail store. to send products to people in need. And you'll be surprised how many people that really need the products during that time. So I would say being adaptive is just take a look around, see what people really need, see what we need to change to grow, and just spearhead.
Being adaptive, Frank, you told me, I think 2 months ago, we met for a drink, and then you told me I have, I don't know, 1,000 employees right now, and now you're looking into how can AI help you to reshape your company. And that's exactly what being adaptive is, because it clearly disrupts your industry. How are you dealing with that?
Now we have 300 people, I think 300 people less now, because first, if you keep all your customers, the price is going down, because using AI, customers don't have to pay so much. So you can grow your business only about the revenue, not the people anymore. In the past, bigger old companies, 10,000 or 5,000 is better than them. It's not anymore. So, and you have to use technology and go with the customer when you have this transformation, digital transformation in the banks or the insurance. You have to go with them. So it needs another structure in the company. You have to go. Of course, you can say we let it as enough paper, there's enough content or something, and you do that to the end and getting most of the money out of it or sell it, or you go the way to transform in your technology. And our partner also in Germany say, okay, fine, we need in the future this one, or we need in the future that. Can you realize it? And sometimes we can, sometimes we need you. And to get the technology out, or we buying this and integrate it in the platform. But this is what you have constantly do. I think this changing is absolutely necessary. It's like a fax machine. It will always exist, but a big business is not anymore. And young people also in Vietnam understand that. They are not so patient like sometimes in Europe. When you want to have a credit card, you don't want to have to wait 3 weeks. You're looking for a bank and give them this in 3 days. And that's a pressure. And this is often in other countries not so. And also new markets, totally pitching now in Africa. Africa is not good. There's only one price and subsidy. There's countries like Rwanda, Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania, they really develop really fancy digital services. And this is for Vietnam also interesting to go with them and develop some new solutions.
I think one of my learnings is also, and that's where I always clash with my European colleagues, is that I say we run on Asia speed. Asia speed is substantially faster than European speed, and is slow, which creates a lot of friction, because we have a new business partner and we completely overwhelm them with the speed, because like within 1 week they get like 10 emails, we are dim, and they haven't even started to think about the first email. And then our people are like, they're not answering. And I'm like, well, yeah, 5 days. I'm like, 5 days? That's not that long in Germany. Yeah. So, but you need to also understand that people here expect it. And I think this is a very important one. I mean, you can't come here to Asia with your European speed and expecting you're successful. People have a complete different expectation of service level. Before COVID, I decided to buy myself a gaming laptop. And I looked it up on DIGI, it's a local e-commerce player. I found it, I ordered it, and within 30 minutes, I have a new laptop. This is unimaginable as a European, surely. Or I always, still after the 12 years with my wife, I still get in discussion with her, because if she want to do something, it's like right here, right now. She decided it, I wondered, and like 3 minutes later, she bought something. And I'm like, so you didn't want to think about it? Or she's like, no, we decided it, I already bought it. And we also talk about expensive things. And I'm overwhelmed by that speed. I'm like, wow, because as a German, I'm more used to, well, now we sleep a night over. I think you all know the saying in Germany, yeah, you don't do anything without sleeping a night over it. That's not true here. They don't sleep a minute. Yeah. And that's the key also for being successful.
Just so service level. When you go and I went in Germany to a car company, I would buy it, and I saw it. You can really a new car, buy it and take it to go to, and there was no single car which I want to say we admitted. It's here different, and here to get choose the driver and also the license for the insurance that is inside one day, and you sit there and twice or then twice. That is, it's good to see that and to see to learning also a little bit out of the region what goes wrong in some other process to work.
Now you told me that your business shifted and
Yes.
you from like offline to online.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we saw the numbers. The e-commerce is growing dramatically here, but matter of fact, it's not where on the level of Europe. So what do you expect on, and why did you decide so early to make that shift?
Well, I think first of all, I think your wife is a client of mine. All our clients, they want it now. Every single time they walk into our store, they will say, I want 20 pieces of very expensive knives, $250 each, $500 each. And I say, I want 20 pieces of it, I want it now. That's the current situation. So we shifted from wholesales into retail because we found that what we want and the level of the quality of service that we want is not up to German standard. And this brings back the experience I have with my father and his crews. We have always been really good at customer service, and we focus on customer service. I want to do that. I want to keep improving it. But up until some point, we couldn't do it without being a retail space. And at the same time, we found out, we learned that a lot of people want to cut off the time of going to our shop and buying products. They want it now. So Tiki, Lazada, Shopee these days, 2 hours delivery, 3 hours delivery. We have our own delivery people that deliver products within an hour if need be. And I think it's a huge change. And that's one of the reasons why we decided that we have to escape the pot that we have always been in and feeling comfortable and feeling a bit uncomfortable and being online.
Yes. Thank you. I think this was very insightful. We have 10 minutes left, so I would like to open the stage for questions or remarks. Anyone? Yeah. It's okay. Peter was first. I don't know.
Lars, why did you buy only one plus bonded water?
A good question. Well, it was a test actually, and I didn't tell Nhan, but I think she liked the glass, but she's like, "Dad, it's too expensive." We rather bring me a cheaper glass and an expensive bottle of wine. That were the answer. Sinan.
So, as you said,
I can't hear you.
sorry. So you said made in Germany was a big, now it's not anymore. Is this because super behavior or because of quality of the other countries' products are better right now. Why?
Right. Cool question. Well, back then, it has always been German product lasts forever. German product is the thing, right? And slowly, the Vietnam market has evolved, and people are more educated. And all of a sudden, Japan, they innovate faster than German. So we have the same products, which is a cast iron pot that is made in Germany, made in France. But the Japanese people, they make it better now. It's more expensive. It's still durable, but it's super light. It's super lightweight that it tailored to the petite, Asian women who are the main users of the products. German products are still revered in Vietnam. We are still selling a lot of German pots and pans and kitchenware and knives. But it really tailored for the European. It's heavier, it's steadier, it lasts longer. But sometimes people speak different things.
That was a very political answer. Thank you for that. Not saying German products went down in quality.
Yeah, but the reputation is a little bit going down. I don't know, the taxi driver had a Toyota and they are German quality. I know it's a Toyota. And they say, no, Bosch. And you open really, and it was 15 years ago, and they showed me from Bosch some electronics, and that's Bosch, German. Okay, and you're going on. But this is now not anymore. I think the Japanese, but also Koreans, when you see this Kias or something, and you're looking for a Mercedes V-Class, it's almost the same for half of the price, and we have to do something here. That is a little bit fitting. When 20 years ago, Germany was at number one in everything with fake noise when we went for down. But this is just a little bit changing. I see it also. Our slogan, German quality made in Vietnam, maybe we have one time also to change it.
Yeah, but it's not only that. The big challenge is coming from China. 10 years ago, Chinese quality was like, and they copy. But now, I've been in China a couple of weeks ago, and the cars completely blew my mind. Yeah, the quality, and I'm German.
Yeah.
I'm like touching, and how is it done? And this is done well. And I couldn't really see a difference for 25% of the price, or a lot more innovative.
Exactly.
We have a question.
It's just a topic of selling German products in Vietnam. This is something I feel content. I have to say something because representing German businesses in Vietnam, I think we still have good products and good quality in Germany because we have 3 million companies in Germany. I think, and that's why thank you for sharing these insights. I think we are not good at selling. We're not good at selling, and we're not good at selling because we are not good at exactly what you said, understanding the customer, listening to the customer, finding right partners, finding right approaches. So that's something I definitely take away. And if you like, what's really interesting for me is looking at the market with 100 million people. Where's it heading? What are the trends? Because we see from the past, selling here was always a very personal business. You have networks, you have circles, you have to get into these circles, you need the right partners to get into the circles. And now it's changing. Now you have e-commerce, now you have, you might have other trends that would be interesting. Thanks.
Frank, you on that topic, I don't know if you can share it here, but you told me also that you made a large investment now, in Nhan or
And how you have to.
And you did that also because now the procurement process also with the government changed, right?
Yes. Also, yes, the whole world want to archive paper. So huge archives, kilometers, and have to be digitized and getting in a kind of document system or something. And now, what in Germany, when you get a Bürgeramt, and you wait 3 weeks to getting an appointment, this is here, you can't do that actually. You have to digitalize the thing. And we have a branch in the countryside because of business continuity. And we were also trying again getting the big government projects. And in the past, it wasn't possible. Vietnamese government should do that, not only by regulations, also by behavior. And it did change. This was the first time we got it. And it was very successful for both sides. And that is encouraging for us, for you, that things are changing. And that is very nice. And we get a new branch with food technology and photovoltaic and water treatment and air treatment. So what's possible can do that here is brand new for the people, especially in the countryside. And it was really enthusiastic and working for the government, and was really a win-win situation to do that. This new year was 10 years ago not possible.
Yeah, I'm very happy to hear that. Also, again, I want to repeat, this country is changing dramatically fast. Where I live in a Vietnamese area. When I go to Germany for 3 weeks and I come back, there are new shops. In 3 weeks, I'm like, oh, do you see that? That's you. And where's that shop? So within a month, the face and the look of the street you're living in can change. Some new entrepreneurs come up, and others were not successful and give up. This is also something we do not see in Europe, the speed. And you need to operate on that speed and understand and be quick. Any more questions? Last question. Go ahead.
I would wonder where you find. So it's a question for you. Where do you find your customers? So what is your most successful channel? As you said, you moved now from hotel business to retail, and connected to that, do you have returning customers, or is it more intuitive? They just buy and they're not connected to the brand, and then they are not coming back to you.
Okay, I can answer that question. Well, we have a retail store not so far from here, and I can tell you the story that we are selling, and also answer a question of the gentleman right before you, he asked. We're selling the experience. We're not selling the products only. We're selling the experience of holding on to a German product, a real good quality German product, a good quality of Japanese products. That's what we are selling. And by having that in our mind, we tailor that around our retail space. So previously, we are in the middle of the street, and we decided that we move it to the corner of the street. So maybe Lars was coming over and he was like, oh, where are they? They might be closing down, but no, we actually moved to the corner of the street. With that move alone, we actually acquired new customer. So we do have a lot of returning customer. I think we serve the niche, and we keep acquiring new customer online daily.
Okay, thank you so much. I hope this was interesting and you learned something. My takeaway value for you would, before you give me the applause on this gentleman, think about bringing Asia speed to Europe. What would be possible if you bring that mindset back? Thank you.